Now, we don't want to make the law of attraction seem ominous to you, but it is steady and it is consistent and it is responding to you. And as you connect those dots, then you will be better at catching your pushing against or your reservations or your fear or your depression or whatever it is. Depression, we started to say you'll catch it in the early subtle stages. By the time it's depression, it's not early subtle stages. By the time you feel like a victim, it's not early subtle stages. But Esther certainly could have headed that off if she had felt as sure as she does today after the fact that her attention to the matter and the emotion that she felt when she gave her attention to the matter was the reason that her vibration was in the place that she received what she received. And it's that way every single time, every single time, every single time, every single time. Back in the early days when Esther first began receiving us and something really great would happen, she would say, I did that. And when something not so good would happen, she would say, I did that too. And she's saying that today. I take responsibility for the timing of this thing that I did not want. Now, was it the end of the world? No. Could she suck it up, buttercup? Sure. That's not the point that we're making. The point that we're making is, and we really want you to hear it. Jared, you may like this especially. Mark, they're the ones that are in the hot seat with Esther doing the broadcast. Esther attracted the timing of that. She attracted the timing of that. She attracted the timing of that. You all attract the timing of everything. The things you don't want come in the perfect time when the vibration is right. It's just the way that it is. Does that information uplift you or disappoint you? Does it make you feel empowered or does it make you feel a victim of the law of attraction? You're not a victim of the law of attraction. You are the recipient of the fair and just response to how you feel. And maybe that will help you. It's helping Esther a great deal, this newest experience and newest conversation. Maybe it will help you to remember that you have a guidance system and that the guidance system comes in the form of emotion. And that when you are moving in the direction of what you desire, you feel positive emotion. And when you are not moving in the direction of what you desire, you do not. And the harder you push against, then the worse you feel. And the more you revel in anticipation, then the better you feel. Did anything terrible happen? No. Esther can't walk upstairs. Barely. It will pass. But what we do not want to pass is the realization that you have control over the timing of what comes to you. The better you feel, the faster what you want is coming. The worse you feel, the more you're slowing it down. The worse you feel about things you're worried about, the more of that is coming. It's just the way that it is. And in all of this, nobody else has to understand any of this. There's not a worldwide movement that needs to get this in order to protect you from realities of being in physical form. You just have to clean up your own vibration and be happier or interested or appreciative or in love more of the time. And then you'll witness, you'll be able to connect those dots to all of the wonderful things that you want to come into your experience. Esther told her daughter, I know Abraham's going to talk about this. I know they're going to talk about it. And she doesn't even mind because she knows the value of understanding that what you think about and how you feel about it and what comes next is always a match. So, what would you like to talk about?
I vibrated my way to this chair from Seattle through all across the country. And,
so the dots are connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you looking forward to it?
Oh my gosh, yes. I was so excited. I knew I'd be here. I mean, I would have been shocked if this hadn't happened.
Well, we're glad you made it. Your time is up now.
I love your humor so much. I had what I call a spiritual awakening about 6 months ago, and
Esther's came yesterday. Wednesday. It was on Wednesday. Well, the awakening came on Thursday. No, Friday. No, the awakening came yesterday.
Yesterday?
No, maybe even just now.
I'm glad I could help. Your teachings have been absolutely integral to helping me learn how to live in this world of...
Glad that we, with Esther's help, can put words to what life is already showing you. We know that words don't teach, but it's nice to make the association when you're having some experiences and then connecting those dots. Yes. So what now?
So I feel like I'm in the vortex most of the time, dipping in and out for contrast and stuff. I feel like I'm at a really high vibration, and I'm moving towards...
No, we're just testing you, because Esther thought that too.
That she was at a high vibration.
She's in the middle of an Abraham workshop, for God's sake. Just a little test. And a little more fun, in other words, because sometimes things do sneak up on you that you didn't see coming because you weren't aware of how you really felt about them, and you didn't realize how much airtime you were giving them. And that's the reason we played with you just a little bit there, because you are often in the vortex, but you're not mostly in the vortex because you're mostly physically focused, but that's all right. And we heard you say that contrast is beneficial, and the reason that we're playing with you strong in this way is because step one is an important part. Do you know that you completely build your vortex? Your vibrational reality is born mostly because you're in step one, because you're aware of things, because something feels off to you, and so you're reaching for it to be improved, and that's when I sure don't want this end of the stick, but then you raise the other end of the stick, and that's what the vortex is. It's when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And without knowing both, you couldn't know either. And so we just wanted to throw that in, that it's a wonderful thing when contrast happens, because that's where your expansion comes from. That's where you get your intentions for your vortex, yes? Yes. And so?
So, in one of the segments I had listened to, you suggested that something that you could help with, something to ask for when we come is, can you help me, with any words that might help me with release any resistance I'm having to the next to the stuff, not the physical stuff, but like what I want to do.
Well, the strongest words that we want to offer you is there's nothing serious going on, and that when you are in the midst of negative emotion, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's an indicator that you're right now practicing, and therefore adding momentum to an attraction of something that when it gets there, you're not going to enjoy it so much. It's a really important part of being a deliberate creator to no longer try to be perfect like you show off for other humans, because your inner being is not impressed with your suffering. Your inner being doesn't even focus on your suffering. Your inner being is aware that suffering has happened but gives no attention to it, but instead looks at the other end of the stick that was born while you were suffering. Esther writes with Jerry nearly every day, sort of like in email fashion. She sends one to him and he sends one back, all in the same document, but that's the way she dialogues. And she was fussing about some things the other day and asking for his perspective, knowing that he's no longer physical, and knowing that she wasn't going to hear from him in the way she might have when he was in his physical body. He was very consistent and usually very positive, but when Esther complained about something, he usually did not encourage it to go on long. He'd listen for a little bit, and he'd say something and then say, well, time to get back to work, or something of that nature. And so Esther didn't really expect anything much different, but he spoke so clearly from the perspective of what she wants, and gave zero attention to what she was worrying about. And when she finished, and later in that day she was in her car moving around the beautiful city, and she began to laugh, and she's talking to him out loud. Well, that was the best suck-it-up buttercup I ever heard, because she could feel that what he was giving her had nothing to do with the question that she had asked. Oh, it had something to do with the answer that she wanted, but not with the problem. His answer was completely different, coming from a completely different place than the problem. And so That's what we want to say to any of you who are in the midst of contrast. It's okay. In fact, it's good. In fact, you just informed or added to your vortex, and you just expanded, and your inner being is completely focused upon what you are asking for. And settle down and give yourself a break and be proud of yourself for having a life experience that gave you clarity and a new decision about this thing that you now want. And leave it there. Most of you, you see, the reason it doesn't feel natural to go that way, because most humans don't realize that their well-being is coming from the vortex. You've been listening to us for a while, so you've heard us say a lot of things like this, but this is the most poignant thing that we really want to emphasize right now. We say to you that if this time-space reality has produced within you a desire, then everything that is necessary for the absolute fullness of that desire to manifest is already emotion. We've said it, if this time-space reality can give you the wherewithal to want something, it has the wherewithal to give you everything about it. In other words, we've been saying that. But what that means is, the reason for that is that once you put something into the vortex, into your vibrational reality, once a desire is born within you, often when you don't feel so great, your inner being gives undivided attention to that. And because your inner being has a point of attraction on your behalf, cooperative components are being gathered, not just to the vibrational reality, but to the physical life in which you live. In other words, things are being lined up to help you get to where you want to be on whatever the subject is that you just launched. So we want you to hear this in a new way. I've been talking about this just for about a week. I want you to hear this in a new way. So, you know how the beginning of anything, a seed in the ground or even a fetus in the womb, it doesn't amount to much at the very first. It's like goo. But from that, if allowed, it will become more and more and more and more and more and more. It will evolve. And it will become the full see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it manifestation that you want. And so when you get that idea, I want this, that's evidence of that manifestational process taking place. Where do you think that desire came from? It came from your vortex, but that's not the point we're wanting to make. It means you were in a place to hear it. You were in a place to receive it. And what we're really wanting you to hear is that if the idea of wanting something can occur to you, you're already underway, because that idea was born out of what you put into your vortex and your inner being's attention on it. So if that idea can come, then it is a slam dunk. It is a sure thing that everything about what you're asking for must come about. It's law. It's the way that it is. And so next time you have an idea that you want something, think about that. Think about, well, it's underway. And if I don't contradict it by noticing that it hasn't come all the way yet, then I will allow it to come faster. And I will allow it to come sure, and I will enjoy my hands in the clay of it more. So that's the thing that we most want you to hear about resistance. The other end of the stick is necessary in everything. If there wasn't darkness, you would not know light. If there wasn't light, you wouldn't know the absence of it. We just want you to know that there is not a source of darkness or a source of evil or a source of badness that is emanating from the non-physical, like the source of goodness is, like the source of wellness is. That's just humans getting pinched off. Here's what we set out to tell you in this segment. Because humans mostly don't think about this vibrational reality in the way we're laying it out for you. And so when the idea comes, you don't realize how underway you are and how known and seen you are. But you are aware of when your mother's nice, or your friends like you, or you are aware of approval from peers or disapproval from them. So most humans have learned to cater to that. So that's what we meant when we said you don't have to perform for your inner being, because your inner being adores you. And you don't have to convince your inner being that you're worthy, because your inner being is you and knows that. And you don't have to prove anything ever. But you do have to be a vibrational match to your own desires, or you can't let them in.